Hey guys! Guess who's back? Oh, it's your favorite farm animal. Super Sheep finally returning after a 4 or 5 month hiatus. God, I can't believe time flows that quickly. I kind of let the depression sink in a little bit. Got a little bit carried away with my own sadness. But you know what? It's okay. We're back now, baby. And I am so excited to continue to bring you guys more content. For this first one back, I kind of wanted to do something a little different and play a game from my childhood that almost nobody seems to know about. It's a little game called Dragonseeds. Now, let's just get this out of the way. This is not a great game. There are little pockets of good in here, but this game is jank. There's a reason why you haven't heard of it, and there's also a reason why the company that made it, Jelco, no longer exists. They weren't very good at making video games. That being said, there are some things in here that are just absolutely awesome. Do you, for example, like battling dragons in an arena? Do you like cloning them so that they can have different stats, different typings, different elemental effects? Do you think dragons are cool? Do you like games with permadeath? If you answered yes to any of those, then this game's got you covered. It's got some good in there, like I said. So, you are a new dragon sage, and you arrive at this city in which dragons are cloned and fought for glory, I guess. That's the premise. That's it. There isn't really much of a story or lore or a world. It's just, hey, let's get in here and let's go. So you start off against a count who has an adult dragon, and he forces you into battle with your little baby Dino, and he just fucking wrecks you. There's nothing you can do. It's pretty much unwinnable. You maybe, if you play perfectly, can win this fight. I never have. Always ends up with my little Saurian dragon dying. And this is designed to basically teach you the fundamentals of the game. It's essentially a extreme version of rock, paper, scissors. I'll go a little bit in depth later about just how that plays out in combat. But for now, just know, rock, paper, scissors, it's Pokemon-ish, kind of, with a few extra steps. But dragon dies. What do? You go to the cloning facility. And this is where things get interesting. Because you are required to create a dragon from scratch. Now, you get to choose one of 6 different dragon species. You have the Saurian, the winged dragon, the beetle, the wasp, crustacean, and the Natura dragon. Beetle, wasp, and crustacean, all pretty self-explanatory. Wasp looks like a wasp. Beetle looks like a beetle. Crustacean looks like a crustacean. Holy crap. Natura, on the other hand, doesn't look like anything natural at all. They look like golems or robots or some weird shit. The Saurians look like little dinosaurs. Like they look pretty dragonish. And then the winged are the most typical dragon in the game, at least once they evolve past the baby form. Now, there are also 2 secret dragon types that you can unlock throughout the game, that being the spirit dragon and the evil dragon. Spirits are kind of strange. They kind of have like a lion face and like a fish-like body, and then evil are just coffins. They're honestly kind of lame, but they're there if you want to use them. There are also, once you get past the different species of dragon, there are different elements as well. Fire, obviously, and then there's also storm, aqua, wind, and earth types. Now, like Pokemon, they each have a bane, right? So fire is strong against wind, storm is strong against aqua, strong against fire, earth to storm, wind to earth, right? That all makes sense. We've all played RPGs before. That's all pretty basic. Now, where the complexity comes in, and I use that term kind of loosely, this game is not super complex. There is a little bit of depth there, but different types can only be certain elements, right? So crustacean type dragons can only be aqua. Natura dragons can only be storm or earth. There are some, like Saurian, that can be whatever element you want if you're lucky, but for the most part, each type has only a couple elements that they can be. Now, there are different phases that a dragon will go through in his life. There is a baby phase, a juvenile phase, an adult phase, and an old phase. After they have been old for 2 weeks, they will actually die. So that's the other thing. Each phase lasts roughly 2 weeks in-game. One 24-hour cycle is equivalent to a whole year in Dragon Time. So it's a little bit of a race against the clock. You need to make sure that you're training, and that you're getting items to up your wisdom, and that you're getting all the arena battles done so that you can keep up the pace so that your dragon doesn't die before you beat the game. The easiest way to kind of get around this is if you up a certain stat, which is called wisdom, to a certain level, and then you have a chance for them to evolve to a secret tier called a super dragon. Now, the super dragons don't die of old age. They can still die in the arena if you lose, but they stop aging as soon as they turn super, which means that clock is no longer ticking. Now you can train them as much as you'd like, and you don't have to worry about having to train a new dragon. Not to mention super dragons are just OP, like they're the top tier dragon, and you should be able to do pretty much anything with them. They also look pretty badass, I gotta say. So, you go to the cloning chamber. You clone your dragon. I picked a Natura dragon, and he ended up turning out Storm. Went to the shop, equipped him with the best gear I could afford, and immediately went into training. You see that I can train 3 different ways. I can train muscle, special, or virtual training. Muscle, pretty self-explanatory. It's the strength stat in pretty much any other game. But the mini-game is a little strange. It's a timing exercise. You can choose however many seconds you want to set it apart, and then you basically have to count and hit the circle button at the right time. And the closer you are on the dot, the more your stat increases. The special minigame is kind of just a memorization game. You have 3 different colored tiles, and they rotate around, and they eventually go super fast, and you just have to remember their last final placement, and then fire on the one that the trainer says to fire on. Virtual is probably the most lucrative because it's just a mirror matchup with yourself that you can't really lose. You can't die. And depending on your actions in the combat, that dictates the stat increases. So say you move back and forth a lot, that increases your speed, which then increases your chance to dodge, or if you attack with your sword a lot, then you'll be increasing your muscle, and if you breathe, you increase your special. That all makes sense. Training is incredibly important because your dragon will not be able to survive the later stages of the arena if you just rest all the time. It doesn't do well. Now, you might have noticed that I didn't mention that you can up wisdom with training. That's because you can't. The only way you can upgrade wisdom is either by upgrading it in the nursery at the start, which you should always do. If you don't, you're being dumb. Always go for wisdom. But the other way is to visit Ishuka's garage. It is a RNG-based shop, so sometimes he'll have weapons, sometimes he'll have weeds that'll up your strength, or he'll have crystals that'll up your breath attack. But if you're really lucky, the big ticket item is the wisdom seed that ups the dragon's wisdom. It is the only way to do so, and it's oh so important, because the higher your wisdom stat, the more likely it is that your dragon turns super, and that is where the fun begins. Okay, you have your baby dragon, you have the weapons, you've gone to training, you feel like you've trained him enough, you've been to Ishuka's garage, you got some wisdom seeds on there, maybe you polished his shield, maybe you gave him extra breath attack, blah blah blah. What now? Well, now is the game. You go to the arena, and there are different leagues. There is a baby league, an adult league, and I think a final league. I got a little confession. I've actually never beaten this game before, so I actually don't know what's past that third tier. I've never done it. Maybe this will be the time, and if I do so, then I'll do a follow-up video. But as for now, there are three tiers of leagues, and each league has an A through E ranking. Obviously, as you go through, it gets harder, but you have to beat at least a rank of the previous league to jump up a tier. Each ranking will have a 3-battle gauntlet against random dragon types and random elemental types that you have to go through, and by the end, you get gold that you can use to invest further in your dragon. So it's a nice little gameplay loop. But here is kind of where I want to talk a little bit more about how combat works. I mentioned that it is kind of a rock, paper, scissors gameplay, and that is because you have 3 different actions that you can choose, right? You have your reflector, your special breath, and your melee attack. You also, to throw a little bit of a wrench in it, you notice a little compass at the top with the 2 little dots and different lines, right? So you have long range, medium range, and short range. So you can move in and out of those ranges. Now, melee attacks will only work in short range, while breaths and reflectors you can use at any range at all. Reflector will beat breath and will reflect it back upon the sender. Breath, it will go through if you don't reflect, or if you try to melee attack out of range, or if you're moving, you can move in or out of it and get hit. And then melee obviously only works in melee, and if you try to do anything else in melee, like breathe or reflect, the melee attack is going to supersede that and you're going to get hit. So it's about weaving in and out of melee range to dodge their attacks, making sure that you reflect their breaths back at them without yourself getting hit, and then vice versa, making sure your breath gets through without them reflecting it back to you. You got all that? I mean, it's kind of a word salad, but it's not really that complicated. Like I said, it's kind of just rock, paper, scissors. But there is one other little wrinkle that I want to mention, and that is the more you miss with your melee attack, the less damage it will do from then on out. So you don't want to just spam it willy-nilly and consistently miss. You kind of want to play with a little bit of purpose, and you want to set up your attacks and try to outsmart and outthink the enemy AI. Now, you do that 3 times in a row, and you get that rank. And you do that 5 more times, and you beat the league. You do that 3 times, and as far as I know, that's the game. Like I said, it's not super deep. There isn't a whole lot to it, but what's there is pretty fun. Now, in my opinion, the most impressive thing about this game is not the gameplay, it's not the dragons, it's not the world. It's the fucking music. The music in this game is really good. It has no business being as good as it is. It is, in my opinion, hands down the greatest soundtrack for the worst game. I mean, no one has heard this, but listen to some of these fucking beats, man. Like, I'm playing this game and I just can't stop grooving. The baby championship theme starts off a little quirky, but then once it actually gets into the song, it's a banger, man. And then, not to mention, you have the virtual training theme, and then the 3rd tier league theme, and then even Pablo's theme. And I know I didn't really mention Pablo's. It's basically just a sidebar that you can engage in battles with other dragons for money. It's not really important, doesn't have anything to do with the league, it's just kind of an extra thing that you can do, but the music in it is fucking sick. And I find myself grooving to it when I'm chilling in Discord with my friends. I used quite a few of these songs in like on custom stages for Smash when I went back when I was playing Project M. And this soundtrack has really stuck with me. And it really is the best thing about the game. I mean, like I said, I hope through me explaining a little bit and showing some of these things that you can see why me as a kid would have been into this game, even though it's not really that good. But I do stand by the music. The music is phenomenal. And you fight me if you disagree. Oh, guys, I mean, there isn't really much else to talk about. Like, it's not super deep. I've kind of shown everything there is to show. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video if I manage to get a Super Dragon, just to kind of show, like, maybe a showcase, like a short, in case people are curious. But that's kind of all there is. The gameplay loop is very basic, and as a kid who was really into dragons and dinosaurs and, I mean, RPGs, it really did appeal to me, and it stuck with me throughout the years, and I'll never forget this game. I'll never forget the times I played it, and I hope maybe someone out there sees this video and says, "Hey, this looks kind of cool. I want to dabble and I want to try it out." Go for it, man. It's at least worth dicking around in for sure. And if nothing else, just listen to the soundtrack on YouTube. Keep it on a playlist because it's well worth your time. Anyways, guys, I'm sorry for taking so long for this video to come out. I'm happy that it finally did happen. I promise it won't be another 4 months before you hear from me again. I'm not quite sure what my next game will be, if it'll even be a game. Maybe I'll do a movie. I don't know. But it's nice to be back. It's nice to have my head cleared. It's nice to be feeling positive about life again and about the channel, even though it's still in its infancy. Yeah, I'm happy to be back, and now I'm just kind of rambling, so I will be signing off. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I really, really appreciate the support of all my friends and followers. Can't wait to keep doing it. Peace out, everybody. SuperSheepin will see you again in a couple weeks.